Anyways, it talks about these different energy spectrums and how, again, when you bring them together. So emotion is the spectrum of creation. Although a natural state, the human mind often considers the opposite of love as being negative and generally associates it with fear because it represents death, loss, and endings. Okay? There are times, however, when death, loss, and endings are a welcome experience when viewed from the perspective of release or surrender. How would life be if we could never release? Releasing the hold of feelings trapped in memories is the true definition of forgiveness. It is surrender. It is letting go. Letting go is the key to feeling good. I see Gary's mind going, shh. Okay. Perhaps that is true because our natural state is that of love, light, life, peace, power, beauty, and joy. Letting go or letting die, any aspect of our belief that is unlike the truth of our being, allows our natural state to simply express. There is no activity in expressing what you are. The core statement in the letting go materials is, there is nowhere you need to go and nothing you need to do to be what you already are. There is nowhere you need to go and nothing you need to do to be what you already are. It is yin. It is passive. It is the Tao, the fundamental essence. Okay? Degradation or decay occurs at all levels of physical reality. All energetic structures, including beliefs, will deteriorate if the direction of energy of emotion is reversed. Your beliefs will degrade to nothingness when you reverse the creative energy that is powering them. Again, a lot of information. I know, get the CD, watch the video, but it'll come together. For example, if we think about what happens to a child when the parents withdraw their love, what happens to them? The child's subjective mind either finds a new source of love or creates a substitute for it, or the child perishes. That is the subjective mind in action finding a way to keep the child alive. That is how powerful it is. It can keep an otherwise helpless child alive in a hostile environment. I know you all feel that one. All right, the concept, everything comes to go, refers to this natural state of reality. It is representative of the cyclical or dualistic or contrasting plane of existence. Duality, by the way, is not a bad thing, considering that without the contrast of dark and light, there would be no world. A clear understanding of duality actually empowers us with the ability to create a deliberate reality and release unwanted beliefs. Thank God for duality. Let's hear it. Thank God for duality. From ancient Eastern teachings, we learn the three lower chakras are created with emotion. The three lower chakras are related to emotion. Thoughts are associated with the three upper energy centers. The chakras related to logic and communication. Where emotion is considered a power source, thoughts are the guidance system that directs it. And while thoughts are important, they have little power by themselves. It is the faith and the belief of the thoughts being expressed that determines how they will manifest into reality. All thoughts are things, but a thought without emotion, without the emotion of the fuel of emotion, is just a thought. It isn't good, bad, right, or wrong. By itself has little effect on anything. It remains like an ungerminated seed. Another term for such thoughts are wishes. Just imagine if every one of the 40 or 50,000 thoughts you have every day actually manifested into reality. Now, the control valve between thought and emotion the control valve between the pure energy of emotion and the directing ability of thought is feelings. All right. Feelings are different from emotions. The middle chakra, or the heart chakra, is positioned directly between the lower three and the upper three, coming into a point of center. Okay? The heart is where the union of thought and power merge. When we join the thoughts in our mind with the power of emotion, we create feelings. A feeling is the union of what we think combined with the fuel of emotion. That is human alchemy. We literally experience a physical response when we combine thought with the power of emotion. Now, regardless if they're labeled good or bad, if they are true or false, feelings are the way we know things are true, right? Feelings are the way we know things are true. Isn't it interesting that the difference between an electrocardiograph and electrocardiogram is 5,000 times more energy produced by the heart than the brain? Does that say anything? Okay. Our feelings reflect what is at the core of our belief. If we are not willing to set aside the activities that keep us distracted from what we are actually feeling, we will have very little successive change. We must begin with where we are. That requires courage. Courage is an attribute of the warrior, a change warrior. Sharon and I, along with our son Greg and Diane, recently took a trip to a vacation to Pismo Beach. And while I was there, I made a conscious effort to not get too distracted with my usual thought patterns of work and achievement. I decided to see how basically I felt when I was awake. Just wanted to be awake. And what I found out is I generally don't feel too good. That was interesting. But, I didn't get upset. I didn't fret. I offered no explanation. Didn't try and resolve it. I just decided to feel the feelings, and I simply lived to them for a week. And do you know what amazing thing happened? I didn't die. Wow, I didn't die. Sharon and I have 4 brilliant grandchildren. The oldest one, Christine, is just about ready to receive her doctorate in psychology. A few months ago, she's at the University of Fremont. A few months ago, we were all talking about belief and emotion, and she turned me on to this book. It's written by one of the professors there. His name is Stephen Hayes. He's been working for about 20 years on a different way of health and healing in the psychological field. And this is called Get Out of Your Mind and Into Your Life. Okay? It uses kind of a different approach. And the 2 fundamental principles that I've gotten out of the first part of the book is, one, what we resist persists. You've heard that one before. And second was, it is the relational nature of our human mind is the primary reason we suffer. I'm really running out of time, but I recommend getting this thing if you're interested in Shift, because it explains how our actual language will begin to control and change the way we perceive things, because of the way it puts things together. Okay? In the family environment, we are interconnected, and we are interconnected with the belief structures of our caretakers. We have parents with behaviors that reflect their inner belief. It is that structure that might rely on alcohol, chocolate, workaholism, smoking, all these different things we do to distract ourselves from pain. Somebody's laughing over there. Chocolate's good, right? Excessive chocolate can have its dramatic effects as well. Okay? This book talks about how we use these different things to try and suppress our emotions because we don't know how to handle them. We're dealing with these loops that have been created from our own childhood, right? And so we have these mechanisms for distracting ourselves from feeling our feelings. I just said I spent a week letting myself feel my feelings. Okay? So the parent creates a loop. And the child who's growing up in that environment has to interact with that loop. And that child creates their own loops, their own ability to find a way of surviving within that situation. Again, it goes around to the idea that this affects that affects this, and everyone who's in that environment is going to be affected by the whole process. With people running loops around the child finds ways to cope that will satisfy the ego mind enough that there's a good chance for survival. The coping methods is adopted as a proper way to exist. The child begins to create a personal loop that allows them to function within the loops of the caretakers in the world as well. And in a sense, we're all just a little bit loopy. Here's where beliefs are built. Strong feelings become associated with the identity during traumatic events and repetition. Feelings that are identified with survival over a period of time become beliefs. Survival is a strong motivator for maintaining those beliefs. Survival becomes the dominant need, and the creative power of emotion sways towards the fear end of the power spectrum. We lose our ability to love ourselves, and thus we become afraid of death, loss, and endings, the very tools of forgiveness and letting go. Letting go is the key to feeling good. Feeling good is the key to manifesting the good we desire. How do we change our belief? We find a way to experience the now and begin the process of dissociating from our belief and our thoughts. We are not our ego mind, and we are innocent of the beliefs established from a hostile environment. Get that? We are innocent of the beliefs that were established in a hostile environment. Those first 7 years, you didn't have much control, but that's where some of the foundations of what and who we think we are and what we believe and why we have to be right were created. So let it go. Letting go, the key to feeling good. We must discover that we exist without our thoughts. We've got to man up with courage and let our feelings come to the surface. When you've actually allowed yourself to drop below your feelings, you recognize that they're really not that powerful. So manning up is not that tough, and it's not really that necessary. Okay? But doing so is an act of non-resistance, because what we resist persists. Knowing we are not our feelings helps make that pill easier to swallow. And second, we need to interrupt the pattern. Without going to the hundreds of hours, because I'm out of time, explaining all these things work, I want to draw upon an age-old concept that says, ask and it shall be given unto you. Luke 7:7, Matthew 11:9. We know that happy people have a different inner way of thinking. The dialogue inside their mind is different from unhappy people. Healthy people look at their bodies differently than sick people do, and wealthy people think about their successes, whereas poor people think about their bills. So here's the little tool I learned from none of these guys. Ha ha, too bad. Most of it I made up myself. All right, here's the tool. Ask and it shall be done unto you. In your mind, we are always asking ourselves questions. People say, Rick, if I could only know how to change my belief, if I knew what my beliefs were, I could do something about it. So, well, I would submit that our beliefs are talking to us constantly. Every time you say, how come I didn't get the job interview? How come I didn't get this? How come? Why is it that I'm just so dumb? How come people are so much luckier than I am? Are we not asking ourselves those questions all the time? I was asking a question the other day of some friends. I said, how come I'm so good at attracting wonderful relationships in my life? Why are people attracted to me? Actually, Reverend Harriet helped me on that. She said, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But the question was, how come I'm so good at that? How come I'm so good at that? But how come I haven't generated $1 million? Those questions that we're asking ourselves are actually coming from our loops. Our loops are always talking to us. And they're saying, how come I'm not this? And how come I can't do that? Yeah. Or, how come I'm really good at this, but man, I am blowing it over here? The questions in our minds are how we can interrupt the pattern. So, rather than saying, how come I don't attract more wealth, say, how come I'm so damn rich? How come I don't have a relationship? Why are people so attracted to me? How come I get bad grades? Why am I so smart? Do you see the difference? Can you use that? Can you use that? Interrupt the loop. Interrupt the loop. Listen to your own mind. Drop below your thoughts and feelings. Listen to your own mind. See what the hell it's saying. Pardon me. See what the hell it's saying. That was going to be the time I talk. How the hell do we change? But I couldn't put that in the book. So, all right. So, you know what? That's kind of it. Let's kind of use that tool, and let's get on with the rest of our service. Go have something to eat. Thank you.